All right, I think we good now, y'all. Y'all good with that music? I was trying to make sure that the music wasn't fucked up because it definitely was doubling. What's going on with y'all, man? It's your boy M. Sizzle out here, man. What's happening, Waffles? What's happening with you, player? Appreciate that sub. Staying alive 5 months strong. What's going on with you, Megas? What's happening with your player? Today I want to talk about a few things, man. We're gonna go into a little bit of news going on here in the FGC. Also, we're gonna talk about passing the torch in Atlanta, and acceptance. Right? These are gonna be some of the topics we're gonna be getting into today. So make sure you strap in. This is MIC, Mike on the mic for the record. So kick up, get you something to drink, man, and let's get in here and talk for a little bit, man. It's been a little while. It's been a little while. I hope y'all been enjoying yourself in the interim. Um, I definitely have been working a lot. Got a lot going on. Got the THT popping and whatnot. Speaking of which, I guess for y'all in the stream that are here, if y'all are familiar with the THT, how many of y'all really understand the THT? Do y'all really understand it, or is it just y'all come and y'all watch Tekken and you see Tekken and you just supporting the Tekken? Uh, maybe maybe that'll be another discussion one day. Um, but it's gonna kind of be factored into what we're gonna be talking about tonight, right? Um, and what we're gonna be talking about first and foremost is Evo being purchased, right? You know, um, big acquisition by PlayStation to buy the Evo Fighting Championship. Let's take a look at this article over here. Gonna pull it up. It's coming from IGN. I don't know what it should be at. Then like you don't want to pull the right shit up. There we go. So PlayStation buys Evo Fighting Game Championship Series. Announces 2021 event dates and Nintendo comments. Right. So let's take a little look at this article. We're just gonna look at the original story. We'll go back up if we need to see about Nintendo. That's not really that important or pressing to what we're talking about. Um, uh, Sony has announced that it has acquired the Evo Championship Series, better known as Evo, the world's largest fighting game tournament. Sony Interactive Entertainment and RTS, an esports venture from Endeavor, have acquired the assets and properties of the Evo series. The purchase means future Evo events are effectively Sony PlayStation events in partnership with RTS. Evo co-founders Tony and Tom Cannon will remain at Evo as key advisors, and Sony took the opportunity to announce the 2021 dates for Evo Online. Right. This year's Evo event will be held digitally on August 6th through the 8th, and then August 13th through the 15th. So it's going to be dual weekends. Events include Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5 Championship Edition, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, and Guilty Gear Strive. Details on the online qualifiers will be shared in the upcoming weeks. As for other games, Evo business developer Mark Julio says Evo is still open to all platforms and that PlayStation and RTS are allowing Julio's team to work with its community to support fighting games as a whole. Though this doesn't concretely answer whether games from first-party developers like Nintendo Super Smash Bros. Will appear at future events. Today, we are thrilled to announce the next chapter in the story of PlayStation and Evo, the world's largest and longest-running fighting game tournament. Sony says in a blog post detailing the acquisition. For PlayStation, today's announcement marks an exciting step in our journey to foster the growth of the fighting game community and esports, and support competitive gamers widely on our consoles, says PlayStation. Fighting games are hugely popular on PlayStation consoles, with gamers logging more than 1.1 billion gameplay hours in 2020 alone. Sony says it will break down barriers for gamers so they can compete at all levels of the sport, and reaffirmed a commitment to creating a safe and inclusive environment for players. PlayStation linked to Evo's message about fostering a safe community. So I guess Twitter been getting to their ass. Um, 2020's Evo online event was canceled following abuse allegation against Evo organizer Joey Cooler. I don't know how you say the nigga's name. All right. NetherRealm and Capcom pulled out for the 2020 event in solidarity with members of the fighting game community who spoke out against this abuse. This in turn is part of a larger scandal that threatened to envelope the whole community. Envelop, sorry. Um, Sony's official involvement could signal stronger organizational support to create safer environments for players and attendees. Alright, so they said a whole lot right there, right? Definitely said a whole lot without saying much of anything, right? But let's talk about it, man. The way I see it, I don't know what Sony's plans are. We did discuss this over in the Discord. I don't think there was a lot of hope for there being a major change with Sony. Maybe it's just going to be more professionally organized. And with such a large name like Sony tied to the event, it's definitely probably going to get a few more eyes on it. But Evo is already pretty big, right? People. I work as an electrician, and a lot of people aren't. They don't really. They're not in the fighting game scene like that. It's kind of a niche. And when it comes to it, it's like they even have seen Evo. Maybe it made it on ESPN. I think maybe 2 years ago. I think it was televised, and it got a lot of traction there, but you didn't really see a whole lot happen by way of tournaments really spiking, or you didn't see the base of consumers really expand all that much. I don't suppose this is going to do much different. Really, in my estimation, I feel like the reason the FGC doesn't really flourish is because it lacks a lot of innovation. One of the reasons I asked about the THT, and if you're familiar with the THT, it's one of the things where I think Tekken House has probably done fairly well as far as being innovative, coming up with concepts, setups, leagues, things that are marketable, provided they had a big enough backing. I think about things like the THT, but with the top 40 players in the U.S., in conjunction with like E-League, something like that. I feel like that's palatable enough to the everyday person, that would be something that you could actually get people to view and pique their interest, because it gives people an idea of like, hey, I don't necessarily have to know these players, but I like this costume. I don't know any of these players. I don't really know nothing about the game, but these logos are fire. That team, it's got a lot of personality. I like their uniform. There's a lot of things that draw people to sports and many other events. I was telling everybody, like Overwatch League. I watch Overwatch League. I don't play a lick of Overwatch. I mean, I played it before, but I don't know what the fuck going on in Overwatch. But they got an Atlanta team. It was pretty hype. I went out to an event. I said, oh shit, they got a watch party. Went up to a local place called Battle and Bruce, a little gaming bar and lounge. And I mean, they had a whole club packed out, and the whole place was packed out. There's people, cheering for this Atlanta team. I was into it. I didn't even know what was going on in the game. The announcer was talking, and I think it was just a unique experience, right? And I think what the FGC has to do, many people argue, it's a 1v1 game. You can't really spark interest in a 1v1 game because people just aren't interested. I think that's because we have a lot of small-minded people just in general. Well, not the people, but I think the community as a whole. They really cling to the grassroots thought process. Like, a lot of people are trying to get it at very low levels. And what I mean by that is, a lot of local people trying to get their piece of the pie. As somebody brought out yesterday, it's a lot of market, but a lot of niche markets, right? And even when we do majors, these majors typically aren't really, unless they're ran by the same person, they really aren't that interconnected. They're kind of like their own separate thing. And with that being the case, I feel like because everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie, that they don't look at the bigger picture of what is really going to work. My idea is, let's say I had enough money to pay everybody, the top 40 players to come here. Let's say it was the THT, for example, and they came to TBS, and it's like, hey, look, E-League, we're gonna put on this THT thing. We're gonna give you teams because, believe it or not, I believe what I read an article. I came across an article, and it said that during the time that they were running those events for E-League, that Tekken got the highest rating, at least up until a certain point. I don't know how long that lasted. And there was, a decline in the games, I guess, that it was comparing it against. But the games were well known, like Madden. I think the other one was maybe CSGO or something like that. Both games that are far larger by themselves than probably all of the fighting game community. But I do think that that one-off could be expanded upon, right? You could. The one thing about that E-League situation was it really didn't give you anything to cheer for other than, like your favorite player being on a team. But, what if you took that concept and expanded on it, right? What if the Cuddle Core team and the Poke Chop team and, such and such happened, and when they did it in a manner where, those people were kind of like team owners, and you could expect every year that you're going to have those teams, and maybe they have a draft, and some people would share or trade players. Like, these are concepts that, that's kind of how the THT is built, right? I already know y'all going to steal it, so I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about a goddamn thing. Yeah, something like that, like Infinite versus UYU versus Equinox. That's a good point. That's a great example of what I'm talking about. And the reason I say stuff like that is because a lot of you all don't buy into people, right? It's very hard, I don't know nobody that's going to wear a Jimmy J Tran shirt, right? It doesn't matter how good he is, right? Nobody's going to buy a knee shirt, right? You have to really be saturating in a lot of different ways. You can't just be inspirational in a game alone. You got to be doing something super exceptional. You got to be exceptional in a platform that's already marketed as exceptional to be Jordan, right? We'll wear a Jordan shirt, right? But if you look at other basketball players, like, they might put a shoe out, but they ain't no Jordan, right? They ain't no Jordan. Maybe you might get some LeBrons. You might have some Penny Hardaways. People might still rock them. Some Shaq shoes, but you see what happened to that. Shout out to Shaq. did the smart thing, put that shit in pay less, made all the broke folks money. Um, but I think really what we have a problem with is we just don't have big brains. For as smart as we are, for all the talents that the players have uh, in the game, all the skills that they have in the game, it's those that have the ability to organize on the outside because the players don't really have a lot of often the player base is not able to reach into pockets and come out with much, right? They're not a deep pocket group. It's traditionally been that way. Prior to the PC uh, age where these fighting games have really become more prominent on PC, like basically folks was sharing PlayStations, folks was sharing Xboxes, people were playing this stuff when they could. It really was, for lack of a better term, the poor man's gaming, right? Um, Not so much now. Now that it's more accessible to a larger crowd. I think that the only thing that can really make it grow exponentially is to do something that gives the common person a reason to be interested. 1v1 tournaments, they just don't cut it, right? I'm not going to be interested in, looking at a 1v1 tournament where I'm looking at Chanel or I'm looking at Chikarin fight Nee, and they're just looking at the screen. They're not animated. There's nothing for me to cling on to. And then the way the system is set up, it's not even set up in a way where if you're on the UIU team, I mean, it's not set up where I feel like I'm going for a team. It still feels like I'm going for a person. And like I said, it's very difficult to really get a lot of people behind a person, right? You think about basketball versus golf, right? The audience is die hard for golf, right? They know everybody that plays the golf game. But I don't see nobody really running around with a Tiger Woods shirt, full Phil Mickelson shirt, unless it's like a graphic tee that somebody that made an art picture out of, like a championship shirt maybe. That's because it's very difficult. As good as Serena Williams is, I don't know anybody running around with a Serena Williams brand shirt. That's people would much rather get a race car driver's outfit jacket that's got a whole bunch of companies that they know that they could feel like they part of that team. They part of the 22 race car 22 team who's got DuPont and I don't know, Red Bull energy drink. Like, you're more likely to sell that team's merch, right? When you see somebody like Anakin play, you don't go buy an Anakin shirt, but you might get a Red Bull's esports shirt, a Red Bull's esports hat. Now imagine if we had something that was, basically like that, right? It would give you an opportunity. And the production costs, a lot of people I don't think really understand that it does not cost as much to produce in comparison to what you can get back in advertisement. Think about E-League, right? E-League, as far as I know, maybe somebody talked them into it, but as far as I know, that was something put on by TBS, right? TBS said, listen, we're going to fly y'all out here. We're going to put, I don't know, how much was it, John? Like $75,000, $100,000 in a pot. And you're thinking to yourself like, dang, that's a lot of money. But you don't think they had advertisers for those slots? Of course they did. Of course they did. And because it's still focused on the game, somebody brought up a point, I think it might have been my boy Iceman. He brought up the point about the Street Fighter reality TV show didn't pan out all that well. And, I saw, and I think that it was just a bad idea because it didn't have a reason for me to be drawn to Street Fighter, right? The only reason I'm going to care about the real world, even in the original concept of the real world, is because of what goes on the real world. Folks fucking, people arguing, slapping each other, acting wild. You never know. It's unpredictable, right? You couldn't do that with a Street Fighter house. You need these people to stay in there. They might could argue a little bit, but they ain't gonna be wilding out like they're not about to be wilding out like the real world cast, right? So it was just kind of like probably a good idea for G4 TV back in the day, but for like a regular mainstream TV, probably wasn't the best idea, right? I don't even know if it came on TV. It might have just only been on internet. I don't really know, but I could see how that would not draw a lot of people because it's not really focused on the gameplay, right? You get something like the THT, it is completely team based. I mean, it's team based in a way that team tournaments aren't even team based. Right now, team tournaments, they're not really they don't have a draw because, I mean, while there is stuff on the line for every person, I could just be Michael Jordan of the team, and you might never see nobody else play the whole entire tournament, right? You put Jimmy J. Tran on a team, he might run through the whole tournament, right? You put Anakin on a team, he might run through the whole tournament. You put Nee on a team, he might run through the whole tournament. You never even see none of the other people. It don't even feel like a team at that point, right? There's not a system to it. There's nothing to cling on to. Like I said, I think what they're really going to need is to get out of the mindset that, tournaments are the only way to market fighting games. I mean, it's just simply not the case. You just have to be expansive with your mindset. But that's how I feel about it, man. Also, I don't know that the players or the people in the community are that invested. Like, I don't even know that the people of the community really want to see it grow. I know I hear people talk about it all the time, but when opportunities arise to do things that could make the community grow, people are lackadaisical about it. They act like they want to be a part of shit, but if it's too much effort, they don't want to put no effort in. I mean, our community is rather pretentious, and it ain't always been like that, right? That's not to point the finger, but I mean the breed of players now and consumers of what's going on now, they are a little bit more accustomed to the instant gratification, right? And that's just not how things work. It's not how progress works most of the time. Sometimes you get lucky. Every once in a while, you might get lucky and you might fuck around and have a situation where something blows up out of nowhere. But typically, that ain't how it works. Most of the time, you got to put work in, right? Once again, I use the THT for format. We have a situation where, people can get paid off their clothes, off their merch. There's stuff set up. There's channels set up for them to do their team conversing. Like, it's pretty set up. The only thing we didn't do, which I'm feeling like I'm glad I didn't do, is like give every team a team Twitter page. Like giving them their own fan base page. And people just be like, oh, well, I don't know if I ever seen nobody advertise their stuff ever. I don't know that I ever seen anybody, even talk about this shit outside of a post that was made by us about the THT. And that's not to say that you have to be a part of something Tekken House related, but I'm just saying that even in a situation where things are put in people's lap, if there's a little bit of work added to it, bro, if there's a little bit of work, then people just aren't willing to do it, right? And I mean, that's their prerogative. That's how people are. But I've seen over time, I've been in this for about 15, 20 years. And as a whole, the FGC just lacks a lot of creativity when it comes to doing something format or fundamentally different, right? They definitely have. I think what the FGC is good at is adapting, right? It was good to see them doing a lot of the online tournaments and stuff. I was really impressed by that because what I felt like was like, maybe the scene might die, but y'all ain't let it die. But they still hadn't really done much else, right? There's only really been 2 formats I've ever seen in any of the in the Tekken FGC, Street Fighter FGC, except for now. I am pretty impressed. I think Street Fighter did do a good job with their Street Fighter League. I didn't pay much attention to it, but it looked like it was at least an attempt to go in the right direction, right? And the guys in the chat, they made a very good point. It's like, well, investors aren't going to invest if you don't have a lot of base, right? But I mean, maybe you won't get to the point of a MOBA, right? Maybe it won't get as big as League of Legends. Maybe it won't get as big as, what was the other junk, StarCraft. Maybe it won't get that big, but this shit surely could double in size very easily if you spark some kind of interest. Because all you really need to do is spark interest in the general population, right? It don't take a lot. I show people stuff about the Tekken House at my job. Somebody bought a whole ass team uniform, right? They bought a whole team uniform. I don't even know, they never even watched THT. They just like the colors. It's like, oh man, that's pretty dope. I like that outfit right there. I like that logo. They might start watching it. This is a 50-year-old man. He don't play no damn Tekken. So I could imagine, think about, this is just on a very small community level, right? This is just the local Atlanta community. What about if you had like a team with Joey Fury and Cuddlecore, and you had a team that had, basically them teams that was on E-League. If those were separate teams, and you knew like they had trades and they had a season, and then they could come back the next season. The team might be switched up a little bit, but you got same familiar faces. You could track them. They got stats, how many no-round Browns they got, how many wins and losses they got. You can get their attributes. Like, people think very, very small. Very small. They don't even think to themselves, you could pull that off. We pull it off right here with 2 people. 2 people pull this off on their own. Invested with their own funds, right? Nobody else invested. Nobody else putting in on it. And we're making it happen on a very small level. If you ever watch the THT, production value when it ain't fucking up, it's probably better than most production you've seen on anybody else's stream in any time doing any event. And it's crazy that it would be like that. And we're just a small function. But all it took was just 2 people put their mind together. Say, hey, listen, we're going to map this out. We get creativity. And hopefully it'll catch on. I could imagine if the people that were playing in this were all top level players, people that you clamor to go see at any other time. They could be in a tournament 2 days in a row. If you know they there, you gonna go watch them. What make you think that wouldn't hold true if you had a league of only the best players, right? And you marketed it correctly, and you made me feel like I could have my part of the team, and that it wasn't gonna be some one and done thing, right? One of the only other things that I thought that was very creative, and it was going in the right direction. I don't know if they're still doing it, but BCF body count fight. I don't remember what it's, body fight count, something like that. Where they would have people come out and play, and they had like a wrestling, and it was pretty much like a wrestling situation, right? We had an idea like that a long time ago, but we never did execute on it. But these are the types of things that you're going to have to do. You can't just keep relying on 1v1 tournaments, bro. I'm sorry to tell you this, but people only looking at that. People only paying attention to your 1v1 tournament if it's got a name in there that they want to see, right? That they want to steal some tech from, right? Their favorite player is there, and they want to support that favorite player. But, they might not even see their favorite player. Their favorite player might get 0-2'd, okay? Then they might not make it to the stream. Or you might only see them like once or twice. Like, you don't have any, there's no way to follow that, right? You might come in and miss the goddamn time that your favorite person is playing. But these are all concepts that It seems plain to me that somebody would have came up with this shit. But obviously they haven't, because we had to come up with shit. And, you know, if we had it, believe me, if we had it, we would go ahead and take all these people and put them in a thing. We would have made this happen. We are for that, right? We try to throw that in the lap of the people around here, but we're gonna talk about that in a little bit later. It just didn't stick how we feel it should have, right? But I don't know, maybe they just fumbled the bag. They don't know what it was, or as we might speak out later, maybe it's just not what they are into, right? It might not be what they want. Speaking of which, man, we're gonna talk about how it is here, right? Let's talk about passing the torch, right? Let's look at this. When it comes to passing the torch, that's one of the things here in Atlanta that has been getting a lot of attention lately, right? A little more contentious than it probably has been in the past, and really not understanding why, right? I don't think that the situation is like people don't want to pass it. I think, well, we're gonna delve into it. But before we get into that, man, we'll be right back in just a second, man. Make sure y'all check out what we got coming up here. Some of these flyers, right quick. Tomorrow we got the 1v1 tournament popping off, so make sure y'all check that out. Also, we're gonna be having the what is that thing? All-Star game popping up pretty soon, as well as got a charity event, but they didn't give me a slide for it. UYU charity event. I'm gonna be in that meat shop in Abstract. Shout out to Abstract out there in the chat. We're gonna be participating in that, so make sure y'all check that out. Oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. I don't know what that shit is doing. Alright, sorry about that, y'all. Yeah, my bad. So we got the 1v1 tournament popping up tomorrow, man. March 21st online. You can play online. I think it's $1,000 pot. 500 going online. 500 if you're in the ATL area over at Access Replay. Shout out to them. Shout out my girl, handcrafted cold brew. Look, you can order that anywhere now. It used to be only in Atlanta, but now you can get that junk delivered to your crib. Get you some of that sip. I fucks with the heavy, with lemonade, pretty heavy. Green tea lemonade, shit is pretty fire. I think it's got like some strawberries and other shit in it. All-Star game, make sure y'all check that out. It is what it is, though. We about to jump back into it, man. What we're gonna finish talking about is passing of the torch, right? And I think it's interesting, right? Shout out to 404, partner them podcast. They had a podcast earlier today. Shout out to Des, shout out to Greg. I saw one of the younger players on there, and they were having a good discussion. I didn't catch all of it. I came in kind of in the middle. And, they were just talking a little bit about, I guess maybe from what I came into, kind of sound like, basically chasing their dues, getting their credit. Also, coming into their own, right? And I think it was pretty good conversation. But I thought about it, and I had a take on it. I still want to have the old school, new school discussion with somebody. I think I was gonna do it with Genghis Don, but I hadn't got back with him yet. I hadn't heard back from him, but I thought maybe I'd give my perspective on it, right? Because I think um, the situation is, I think it is just strange because communication isn't there, right? But let's talk about passing of the torch. What even is passing the torch? Check me out. Passing the torch. Relinquish responsibilities, a tradition, practice, or knowledge to other. For example, when the company's founder became too ill to continue, he passed the torch to his nephew. This metaphoric expression alludes to the ancient Greek torch race, in which a lighted torch was passed from one runner to the next. All right, so just if you aren't familiar with that term, that's what it means. That's what it means. Passing of the torch. Now I don't know if you remember a while back. I used to have these first to 20s with people, and I would always play somebody from that were considered new school. Give them the opportunity to show their stuff. It always went pretty bad. It always went pretty bad. And that's not to say that they weren't good players, but I don't think anybody ever came close to getting the torch, right? The reason that is important is because the person they were playing with me, right? I'm not even a competitor, right? I'm not even. I hate this game, really. It's Tekken 7 what we talking about. I really only enjoy teaching it. I really don't have a competitive edge anymore. But with that being said, playing people that play this junk every week, playing who go to tournaments very often, I think a lot of them begin to smell themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've seen a lot of progression in a lot of our community, really. I'm very impressed by a lot of our community. But I think what we're running into is I don't know if they're ready yet, right? And what I mean by that, well, first off, what did passing the torch look like back in the day? Passing the torch, let me tell you how it happened here. And this is strictly maybe more of a Atlanta thing, because Atlanta, we hold Tekken pretty close to the heart, right? Close to the chest. We got a lot of pride in it, right? We've got a long legacy of players all the way from Jop, up to, currently Anakin, everything in between. Everybody has had their part in some portion of the legacy building, right? So, we definitely hold it with high regard. Somebody who's been here for a while. There's a lot of people that came before me. I'm old in this shit. And there's people that's far older than me in this shit, right? And shout out to those people. Without them, we wouldn't have what we have. Jackie Tran from Atlanta, part of the Atlanta scene. Like I said, Jop, Tekken Tim. Who else was somebody? Arario came from the Atlanta. These names, some of y'all have never heard of. Some of these are Evo champions. I think Crow used to come here and train a little bit with a few of the people. And of course, we got Clint the Beast. You cannot forget about Clint the Beast. This man won final round 9 times, okay? 9 times. I don't know too many people that's won a major in the U.S. that many times besides Justin Wong. It's like, there's a lot of history. It's a reason that people look towards ATL as like a real, almost like a mecca of sorts when it comes to Tekken. And what we want to do is try to keep that legacy going, right? See, back in the day, what happened was, you had people like, shout out to Truth, not Truth 404 with the Baldwin, but ATL Truth, shout out to him. You had people like Clint, Lil J, shout out to K-Gun. You might hear him talk about another Tekken house. We called it like the old school Tekken House, right? When I came in, it was the original Tekken House for me, right? Um, like those guys really put in a lot of work, right? They were going up and down, traveling, putting in a lot of work. You know, they were doing so well that people had no choice but to like really pay them attention. Um, people coming from states across state lines to come see what's going on in Atlanta, getting thrashed and sent back home. No funds in their pocket. We went from there to a time where I started getting good, where there was like Atlanta. For y'all that don't know how the old Tekken 5 DR, the ranking system online, it was the first time we had ever got online Tekken. And within our household, we had the way Tekken used to work was you could only have so many Tekken God Omegas, right? Let's say if you're looking at the Tekken 7's glasses. Imagine you could only have 5 Tekken God Omegas at any point in time. Then everybody else was a Tekken God Prime, or you only had like 10 Tekken God Primes. Then everybody else could just be up to a Tekken God. And it was like a point system based on it, right? Kind of how, kind of like your prowess points, maybe. Well, in our Tekken house, we had at least 3 of the top 5 slots. And then you threw Anakin in there, and we had 4 out of 5 slots at one point in time were all Atlanta. They all were Atlanta accounts. 3 of 5 which were in the same house. Just us just getting to number 1 and then sharing an account, getting to number 2, getting to number 3, no cheating, beating everybody. You could go ask people. This is what led to people really finding out about me, because back in the day, you used to have a little code of conduct when it came to playing online, right? And when it came to that, it's like, you get blacklisted. You out there trying to throw. We had a horrible connection back then. We had this rollback that y'all got. Be thankful for what you got. You know what I'm saying? Y'all complain about the online. Y'all ain't seen no bad online. But, imagine you can't block no snake edges. Like, that shit is just a problem. It's like somebody hell swept you. Throws, out of the question. And then imagine me being number 1 online without throwing with King. Right? That raised a lot of eyebrows, right? And you weren't just playing, like, you weren't trying to get in and out and only cherry pick. Oh, we was playing the best of the best. I remember one good time, shout out to STL, was playing Slips, and I think Richard was playing Slips. Shout out to Wing Zero, rest in peace. And Slips, y'all might not know him, but if you're from the STL, you're old school, you know about Slips. Slips, another person. I think he might have been an Evo champion or very close to it. He was Spiro Gen's teacher, right? He was Spiro Gen before Spiro Gen was anything, right? And he used to play us, and it was very funny. Like, he would just be playing us, and you would, back in the day, how you have party chat on PSN? Like, back in the day, when you came in the room, if you had a mic, you just was talking to folks. Like, you just had to pull your mic out, or you just was talking. Everybody could hear everything. And we used to have an account called Bill Cosby. And when we'd beat people, we'd send them like a little picture that had Theo on it, and we'd start playing the Cosby music before the match, irritating the hell out of folks. And I remember Slips would get so salty, dog. He'd start cussing everybody out. And we'd just be over there cracking up. It was a great time. It was a great time for online. But I say all that to say, that really got people interested. They came down to final round. It was like, man, hold on, dog. Y'all think y'all good. Y'all be playing online. But what's really up? And, they found out about your boy MIC. Back then, ME Red ATL. And you go back and ask some of them folks like, oh, that boy Me Red? Oh, yeah, he was solid. He was solid, I was basically, the year I went in and I did very well, I went from being like a complete nobody from the year before to being in the tournament and having to fight everybody because I did so poor the year before, right? So I had like the hardest bracket. I had to fight all the out-of-towners. I think this might have been 2. It happened back-to-back, years back-to-back. I know the Realist was there. One of my more well renowned fights that you can probably still find on YouTube is me versus Spirogen after he got second in Evo, right? It was like a real big deal, but I had been playing Sims, so it really wasn't no big deal to me, at the time. Um, Shout out to Daniel Phoenix. He came from, I want to say Brazil. He was probably one of the best Harangs at that time. He was tearing everybody ass up, giving everybody the business. I played him and tore his ass up, and I think he got salty, but those were good times. But that just is part of the legacy that is ATL, right? And then you have Anakin now, right? Anakin, shadowing a little bit under a few people, right? Under Clint, shadowing a little bit under Truth, RTD. Um, he was a very young person who was allotted to be around some of the best players, at a very young age. He grew up in it, right? He grew up in this competitive edge. He grew up and nobody gave him nothing, right? You know how he got where he is? He started beating people's ass. That's how I got where I was at the time. That's how Wing Zero got where he was. Big Boy, Ricky, or Poke Chop. Y'all might not know him as Ricky. All these players that you hear about in the lore of the ATL community, these players they had to prove it, right? They had to prove it. And they didn't just prove it by, beating a few people here and there. Like, these people traveled so that not only were they just known here, they were known abroad, right? And if you came here, shout out to Chet Chetty. I remember one time Chet Chetty came here, and that man might have won one match the whole weekend. The whole weekend. He played Sims. I don't even know if he won no round. He thought Sims was the best player in the whole United States. But he just ain't know Sims. He just ain't know how Sims played. I don't think he didn't beat me none. I think he might have beat Wing Zero one match. I think he went over there to play Anakin. I think Anakin tore his ass up. Like, he came to I don't know, it's like, what they call that junk? What they call it, S&M? It's like he came out here and got that S&M work. All right? Shout out to him, though. He was good people. Shout out to a few people used to come. I think Q-Dog, he had family here. He used to come here. Nonetheless, it wasn't a secret that you knew who the people were in ATL. I say all that to say, what we have now is like a group of people that are very talented. Very talented. But it's like they want the torch to be passed. And there are some of them that I feel like they're really close to getting that torch passed. Like a Genghis Don is somebody who, a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit, but he's doing more and doing it more consistently than a lot of the other players, right? Shout out to Abstract's been known to do his thing. I can see him coming up. 0-2 has been pretty good. I mean, we got like a lot of the players have a lot of potential. The problem with passing the torch is, if you remember, passing the torch happens when, somebody can no longer, continue to uphold the torch, right? Or even if they can, when somebody better comes along, you just give that thing to them, right? It's long been a goal of mine, right? That's why I love to teach. I've been wanting for somebody to come by and be like, yo, you know what, Mike? I thought I had it in Tiger Mask, but Tiger Mask hate this shit too. Somebody just be like, yo, Mike, I'm the new king of Atlanta, right? It might spark me, it might spark me. Had Sack Booster for a little while. He was doing really good, but life got a hold of him. But it don't even have to be a king player, right? But to know that I could not go to a tournament and Atlanta could be represented by one of our players, right? And I could be proud. I could cheer that person on. I could talk shit in the crowd. I can talk shit on the chat. Throw that ATL hoe all in the chat. You know what I'm saying? That is a good feeling to have. We don't have that yet. I don't know anybody that has shown that yet. And maybe when we get back to these majors, and maybe when it comes to, maybe getting a little bit more exposures, exposure, we'll be there, right? We'll have some people there. What's happening though is that, from my perspective, is we got a lot of people that, let's say this is a relay race. These people want to get to the finish line for the accolades of winning so much that they're not waiting for the baton to be passed to them. You know, it seems like that, much like how I was talking about the reason that we don't flourish as a community in whole, you know, the FGC as a whole. You know, a lot of people take that instant gratification and they let it run them, right? And what I mean by that is their patience is low. You know, something like Tekken is not it's not a fast game you're gonna learn and master. You're not gonna master this junk, right? I teach a class in this, and people sometimes, I did a class the other day teaching people how to actually practice, right? What it's like to have like a scientific method to practicing and actually getting something out of practice mode instead of just going in there and not knowing what the fuck you're doing. And I explained to them, like, you might be practicing for like 2 hours on one situation, right? For one move, for one character. You got to do that with, in this game, 50 characters for several moves, several situations. That's how you get good. You know, that's not something you're going to do overnight. You don't have enough time. I don't care maybe if you were a computer, you know, shout out to the Snyder Cut. If you were Cyborg, you could download all the information and apply it immediately. Maybe you could do that then. But ain't nobody Cyborg out here, right? Some of y'all might be black. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all might think y'all robots. But you ain't, all right? That's just not what it is. And it's never going to come easy. Nothing really comes easy. And that's not to beat the community down, because like I said, I think there's a lot of promise out here. I've been the first person to tell people, like, nah, I think that player actually is pretty good. I mean, they got a ways to go, but they're pretty sharp, right? Shout out, I got a homie, one of my old students, Pleasant Man. I think he's pretty sharp. When he's really trying to play, you know, I played him. He is pretty sharp. Now, is he all the way there to the point where he can get the torch? He ain't there yet, right? Is Nito all the way there? He's not there yet. Is Rail all the way there? He's not there yet. Even though Rail is old, don't let that nigga fool you. You know, K-Dash, is he all the way there yet? Not there yet. But are these players extremely talented? Undoubtedly. The problem is they are used to they're used to their own bubble, right? Now this is going to be a hard pill to swallow, right? And this is not hate, but this is just what happened, right? This is just what happened. Almost every situation, minus a few, but almost every situation we've put, you know, the ones that we feel on the horizon, on the cusp of grabbing the torch, when we put them in a situation where they could show themselves worthy, it was almost always an embarrassment. Almost always. Like, to a point where it was like, people don't even mention ATL players' names. If they're not saying Chop and they're not saying Anakin, they act like they don't even know nobody else in ATL, which is crazy, because we got a lot of good players. A lot of good players. But are they doing anything to stand out? And it becomes very difficult to pass the torch when you're not even beating the best people in your city. Right? You can't, how can you expect Anakin to pass the torch to you when he's still better than you? How you gonna expect Chop to pass the torch to you when he's still better than you? I can't pass the torch. I don't even play. And I'm better than a lot of people. And that's not tooting of the horn. What that means is you just got work to do, right? Just like I can't expect that I'm finna go play I don't know, Street Fighter right now. And then we got the best Street Fighter player in the town. And I think it was Neon. Ain't that his name? Neon? Or I think I'm going to go play Jazz Rap in Dragon Ball Z. And I'm just going to, hey, man, I've been playing this shit for like a month. Bro, you deserve to give me that. I need that right there, bro. That's mine. It's like, no, you're not, that's not about to happen. I'm going to have to prove it. And what I do think is they have fight to an extent, right? They have a desire to be the best. But at least I think they do, right? I hear them talk about it a lot. And I just think that they don't realize what that means, right? You think, I done talked to Chop about this plenty of times. Chop is ready to retire, okay? He ready to just be a streaming ass nigga. All right, a community ass nigga. Shout out to Chop. He done put the stream station up there at 404. His own money. Ain't nobody paying for that. He paying for that. All right, he letting the community use his expensive ass computer. Had to go buy another computer. This is what I'm saying. Stuff like that. So the community wants the community to thrive, right? The people, the older guys, they want the community to thrive. But we also know the community ain't ready, right? And I think the mentality sometimes is getting in their own way, right? I think I was listening to them talk today, and they were talking about winning. Shout out to Plesman again. He was on the stream, and he was talking about winning. And, you know, when he goes to the tournament, that's what he's doing. He wants to win. And I don't think nothing's wrong with that. I think if you go to the tournament, yeah, your main objective is to win. But he made a statement about, like, you know, he played Rashid, and one of his players that he played way back in the day, somebody he really looked up to. And then, you know, he played him the other day after years of training, and, you know, after Rashid, I guess, hadn't really been playing or nothing. Or maybe Rashid plays. I don't know. The way the story was told, like, Rashid hadn't been playing or something. But, you know, once you got the shit, it's like riding a bicycle. You really don't forget it. You just got to kind of, you know, warm your legs up. But I think he beat him. I think he beat him pretty bad. He beat Rashid like 5-1 or something like that. And, you know, he said he felt like he held that real dear to him. And as he should, because once you make that progression, you're not supposed to just, you don't have to be humble about everything, right? You need to acknowledge, like, yeah, I'm getting better. That's a notch that you add on there, right? But he also was like, you know, oh, and I played Red, and I almost beat him in 2 tournaments. And it's like, yeah, that shows progression. But, you know, I wish he was here to talk for himself, because I don't like putting words in people's mouths. So, and that's why I invite people on to talk from their own perspective, which hopefully will happen pretty soon. But, you know, he basically was almost formulating like, oh, he's as good as ATL Red. Which, I mean, maybe he is, you know, maybe he isn't. I don't know. You know, I ain't really in the scene playing everybody like that to assess it with my own eyes. I mean, own experience one-on-one. But it was funny because the way I feel a lot of the people think in our personal community is that once they beat someone, like, that is the accomplishment, right? And this is not him. This is just what I feel in general from what I see. You know, is that is the accomplishment. They win a tournament in 404 or something. That is the accomplishment. I think that is an accomplishment. But if I was to give it to you in an analogy, people often come around, you know, or come off as a person who goes to the gym, right? Follow me. Let me know if you can follow me. You go to the gym and you get up underneath the bench press and you do you do your max, and you put 2 plates on both sides and you lift the 2 plates up. And it's the best He's like, oh yeah, shit. Who's the strongest motherfucker in here? You say, oh, that guy Chop, he's the strongest guy, right? And he get up underneath, and you say, well, I think I could do as much as Chop. How much does he do? And Chop say, well, man, I bench 215, right? And you say, you know what, I could do that. And you go over there and you bench 215. Like, you've been trying, right? You try to push it up. You've been trying for like 2 years, 3 years, however long Tekken 7 been out. You've been trying for a long time to try to bench press this 215. You could never do it. Sometimes you got real close. You got it up off the bar at first, but then it dropped back down on the bar. Then you lifted it up, and then you thought you let it drop down, almost cut your head off. You was screaming. You was like, where my spotter? Where my spotter? Where my spotter? Okay, spotter had to lift that shit up off you. You set it back up. You said, man, fuck it. You didn't give up. You kept going, right? You kept on persisting. Next time you went, you was like, you know what, man, fuck it. You tried to pull that thing up. You popped it up. It dropped across your neck again. You about to choke. Help me, spotter, help me out, dog. I need some help, dog. I need some help. They helped you out. You know what I'm saying? Now you got 2 and 3 spotters over there next time you do this shit. And you did this shit every week for 2-3 years in a row. Now you coming in there, you like, you know what, bro? Now is the time, right? Now you done pulled up to the bench, and you know what? They done put that 215 on there, and you push that motherfucker up off the rack. You drop it down across your chest. You look up at the spotter, you say, back the fuck up. And the spotter like, damn, bro, you got it. You like, no, I got this shit. I know I got this shit. You start pushing that motherfucker up. You start pushing that motherfucker up. You start pushing that motherfucker up. And that shit drop back on your fucking chest. You like, spotter, spotter, spotter. I almost had it. And then they goddamn pick that shit back up and they drop it back on the rack. And when you go to get your surgery, your chest get set, got a big ass bar across the front. You know what I'm saying? All kind of grid marks in your damn chest. You like, man, fuck this shit, man. I almost had that shit. I almost had that shit, dog. I almost had that shit. Then one special day, you take all the vitamins, all right? You pump up you soaking up all the creatine, all right? You did all the stretch and flex, all right? You was apex and flexing with Mike over here on the channel, right? You was really getting it in. Next thing you know, you sitting down. You like, you know what? I'm on the bench, bitch. Back the fuck up. The spotter's like, bro, you said that last time, dog. You like, no, back up. Back the fuck up. Back up. And it's like, damn, nigga, you all right? The goddamn steroids got you hype, bro. You been out there training for this shit. You been doing push-ups and everything. You ready for this 215 now. You ready for this 215. You lie your ass back in the goddamn bench. You put your hands gripping the motherfuckers. You got your thumbs pressed inward, you know what I'm saying, focused in. You say, man, you know what, man, grip wide, thumbs at the side. You know what I'm saying, I'm about to give you what I got. You lift that motherfucker off the bench. You lift it up off the rack. Drop it to your chest. They look at you. They say, bro, you got it? You say, I got this shit, dog. I got this shit. And then he's like, bro, are you sure you got it? You said it last. He's like, man, get the fuck back. And then you lift that motherfucker off your chest about halfway. And they say, your arms start getting shaky. They say, bro, you know what happened last time, bro? You was out for a little while, bro. It's like, no, I'm almost there, dog. I'm almost there. I'm about to win. I'm about to win. And you say, oh, okay, but bro, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm about to get it, dog. I'm about to get it. Wow, you do that explosion. You inhale and you exhale and boom. You get that max 215, you throw that shit back on a rack. Now you up, you clapping your hands. You like, yeah, nigga, I got it. What's really going on? All right, what's really going on? I'm that nigga now. I'm that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Chop, you thought you was some shit, nigga. I'm that nigga now. Okay? I done lifted this shit. I got 215 now. I can do what you do. But what I didn't tell you was that Chop reps this shit like 20 times, 5 sets. You get the analogy? Like, we proud of you. You did your thing. But compared to the person who's lifting 215, 20 reps, 5 sets. You lifted that shit one time. We proud of your progress, but you still got a long way to go. And I say that to say, I made a comment and I was like, you put a whole bunch of just people in general, when I say that, I mean like across the spectrum, put a lot of stock in wins, right? And don't get me wrong, you definitely want to win. That's the goal. But when I say put a lot of stock in the wins, like the individual wins, a lot of the time, they're satisfied with that. They look at that as being at the pinnacle. And something I always try to explain to people is like, listen, and it was the reason for the Passing the Torch series I had back in the day, right? Because at the end of the day, you might could beat somebody in a 2 out of 3. Once. How often can you create that situation? You might win a tournament once, twice. But do you really think you're as good as the person who wins those tournaments, 40 out of 52 weeks in a year? Jordan lost matches, lost games. LeBron loses. These people are still considered the best in their league, in their craft. Just because, I don't even know a sorry basketball player, but let's say sorry basketball player guarded LeBron and he dunked on LeBron one time. Because LeBron dunked on him. Do that make that basketball player as good as LeBron? No. Does it give him something he can pump his chest about? Of course. But I think that is one of the things that is really holding our scene back, is because their mentality is not in the place it needs to be to get them skill-wise in the place they need to be, right? And they want to rush it, and you can't really rush it. It's not something you can rush. And that don't mean that they're not talented. Like I said, a lot of them are good, are very good, right? A lot of them have pulled off some good stuff. I think like 0-2 and Pleasant Man, and maybe one more, and Shamir. Even though I think Shamir kind of old school too. He's been around for a little bit. I think Anakin had an online tournament or something, and they came in to, the top 3? Atlanta was top 3 or something like that, or top 4 or something. I don't remember what it was, but I know they showed out. They did real good in it, all right? Just the other day, Genghis Don just won a tournament. Shout out to TTU, getting y'all right. And he was playing against Obscure, was in the tournament, and he won it. Right? So they're definitely having progression. And I don't think that they are that far off to the point where they just need to give up. They're nowhere near that far off, right? But I think that they need to hit the gym a little bit more, right? They need to really understand, like, if I can't beat Chop consistently over time, if I can't win these local tournaments over time consistently, or at least, am competing in like the grand finals, or winners finals, losers finals more often than I'm not, it's probably a good chance that I'm not ready for the torch. Because when Chop is gone, you're going to be the pinnacle of the competition. When Anakin is gone, you're the pinnacle of the competition, right? I'm already gone, right? I'm already gone. I'm already up out of here, right? I'm just a nigga with a little bit of knowledge and a nice smile. Don't let your bitch see me, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you're going to have to hold the city on your back. Are you ready for that weight? Are you ready to be the sole representative of the city when they come converging on the city, right? Like, everybody wants the glory until it's time to go to war, right? Until it's time to get them war wounds. Everybody want to tell the story about war. Nobody want to get war wounds. That's an unfortunate thing, bro. That is an unfortunate thing. And, that's not to say that none of them have it. Like, I think one of the things that happened was they went out of town and they did very well in a team tournament. And, I was pretty proud of them when I heard about it, because they weren't even as good as they are now when they did that. But I think that small success set them up for failure in the future because they hold on to it. And it's kind of like it's not a slight. Like I said, I'd rather have them here to say their portion because I don't want to put words in their mouth or, even put feelings out there that they don't have. So I can only tell you from how I see it. That, that made their heads blow up a little bit more than it should have. And it's clouding their judgment on where they are. And we just want to see them get to the point. I would love to go there and not be able to beat nobody at 404. And to be like, I'm trying my hardest to beat these people and I can't beat nobody. That's when I know, like, oh, they ready, right? They are ready. They are ready. I'm dying for the day where I'm confident enough to put my money on the table and be like, you know what? I'll pay for you to fly out here and go represent us out here. You ain't even got to win that shit. I'm sure you're going to get top 8. I'm sure you're going to get top 8. You might win it, though. I'll send you to Evo. You'll probably get on the big screen, right? That's where Atlanta is known to be, right? That's what kind of legacy Atlanta has. Right now, and I really hate to say this, but, I've conversed with a few of the elders, right? Of all the regions, we might even have the weakest region for Tekken 7 players, which is crazy. Because we also have, and this is United States regions, obviously, we also have arguably the best player in the United States here. How that doesn't translate, I don't know, right? But we might very well be, we might very well be last place. If you took out our best players, you took out Anakin and Chop, and you put the rest of the players versus the 5 best players from the Midwest, I don't know that they would stand up to that. We've kind of seen it happen already, but it was online. But Northeast, it was a bad day. It was some online shit going on. So I don't really fault him too bad. But Chop don't play online, and he did pretty well, right? He tried to bring the team back. So it couldn't have been that bad. Chop don't even play online, right? The West Coast, I don't know. I don't really know who all they got, but they might tear our ass up. Texas, oh shit, they might really tear our ass up. We got people like what's his damn name? Go Ouija. I don't know how new some of these players are, but Lee Xiaolong, is that his name or something like that? Free Xiaolong. These motherfuckers are ridiculous. Glaciating, a ridiculous player. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for our next person to be that. We want y'all to be that, because that is traditionally what we have produced. Now, is that because of, that could be a little bit on us, right? That could be a little bit on the older guys, not really bridging those gaps. But I try to make sure that I'm not that cause, right? I try to make sure that if you need some help, I got you. You want to learn something, I got you. But you got to be receptive to it, right? You got to be receptive when, Anakin throws some knowledge at you. You got to be receptive of that shit, right? When Chop throws some knowledge at you, just because you beat him a few times, maybe you beat him in a money match or something. If he tell you something, he tearing y'all ass up every week. You probably should listen to him, right? I know he don't be knowing what the fuck he talking about sometimes. Shout out to my boy Chop, but at least give him pick his brain a little bit, right? You got a lot of resources. Shout out to Juice. You know what I'm saying? Holla at you. Appreciate it. But you got a lot of resources. Like pound for pound, you have a lot of quote unquote legendary status around you. You know, imagine living in New York and you just won't play with Joey Fury. Like you just refuse to play with Incognito. Or not that you refuse, you just don't even bother playing him. Or you only play him like your only plan is to play him and beat him. But not really understand much. You know what I'm saying? You just only playing him so you can win against him. That ain't gonna help you. See, another thing people don't take into consideration, and I'm long-winded with this shit. It was only supposed to be 30 minutes. But I'm long-winded because I'm passionate, right? Another thing people aren't considering, right? If you play Chop 40 weeks out the goddamn month, 40 weeks out the damn year, you're going to beat him because eventually you're going to kind of figure out if you're any good, right? If you're any good, eventually you're going to figure out stuff about that person. The reason winning to me is not the end all be all, right? In a tournament, I get it. You want the money, that's what's up. But you got to get to the point where winning is even feasible, right? Where it is something that you know. Like there was a point in time where I went to tournaments and I just knew the tournament was going to be me and Chop at the end every single time. And the only time that really changed is if I didn't go there, or if like Speed Kick showed up, or if Anakin showed up, there might be some contention on how it ended up, right? Depending on what the bracket was looking like. But for the most part, I can remember almost for a whole year, I only got first or second place, and I got no less than top 8 in anything in Atlanta, minus I think one final round. Like that was like, oh, I'm gonna go make some free money. To the point where it was like, Chop called me up and we was like, how many people out here at this tournament? Oh, about $300 worth of people. All right, let's go pick up this 150. We just split it down the middle. And we just knew that was gonna be the case. Maybe like once or twice it didn't happen, but most of the time that junk happened. If you're not going to the tournament expecting to win it, right? That's when these people go out to these tournaments. When Joey Fury goes to a tournament, he goes expecting to win, right? He at least expects to get in the money. If he don't expect to win, he expect to get in the money, right? When Lil Majin goes to a tournament, he about to get into the money at the very least. You think he'd go to his local and be like, I hope I make top 8? I hope I make it to grand winners finals? I hope I make it to losers finals? These motherfuckers are going in like, I just want to make sure I'm getting first or second. I just want to know which pot I'm getting in. I'm probably going to get first. That's how they think. But that's because they know their skill and they're not relying on, I'm good enough to beat the people around me, right? Because the people around you might not be good as the next town over, right? Or maybe they are. Maybe they're better. But if you only know how to beat the person who's the best at your place, right? If you only know how to beat Chop, but you don't know how to beat Fakaram, and then somebody come playing you with a sorrier Fakaram and they tear your ass up because you don't know their patterns, then you ain't learned nothing. You ain't no better. And I think that's something that, a lot of people, not just my community, I think this happens across we keep it to Tekken. I see this happen to almost all people that I talk to, that I play, or that I teach. Like they get swept up in the idea of learning how to beat somebody. And ultimately, all this stuff is really stopping the torch from being passed, right? But I say all that to say, there is another portion to this that I could just be fucked up about. And I'm not above being corrected on my stance. And that's really what I'm talking about is acceptance, right? Because I might have to accept that the real reason they're ready to get this torch is because they just ready to have their own shit. And that's possibly a real thing, right? Like maybe they don't want to be under the shadow. I know what it's like. I'm a man. I know how men work. You know, you grow up and your dad is the damn, I don't know, your daddy is the damn, is an actor. Denzel Washington is your daddy. You're going to get salty when people compare you to your daddy all the time, right? You want to get out there. You want to be like, man, I'm on my own, bro. I'll do my own training today. You know what I'm saying? I'll go out here. I don't even want to do training day. I'm doing Marvel movies. I'm better than my daddy. Like, I get it. And maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe they see old niggas. Maybe they see Tekken House. And they're like, you know what? I have no connection to Tekken House. That's some old nigga shit. All them old niggas, they can live in their old shit. We want our own shit. We can do it on our own. Survival on our own. And I don't think the old heads would really be upset with that because they would probably understand. But then they're just gonna not be dealing with you. That's the problem, right? They're just gonna be like, okay, well, if that's how you want to be, because there are consequences to every action, obviously, right? And it's not really to say that this is how all of them would be, or any of them might not be like that, because at the end of the day, the old heads still want what they want, which is somebody to carry the city so they can retire and do other shit, right? That's what they really want. That's what most of the old heads do, right? They ready to get in them. You think they don't get in there? I bet K-Gun be watching 404 and probably got a favorite that's a new school cat that he loves to see win, right? He probably be over there cheering for Ace Shavers every time Ace Shavers get a look like he's getting close to getting around. All right, he probably over there loving that shit. All right, you know, Dez probably be over there clapping his hands every time he see Ace Shavers' shirt pop up. You know what I mean? He might love that shit. You know, I know he's very fond of a lot of the new school players. Even though you would never hear him say that shit to y'all, he say it to me. He let me know who he sees a lot of potential in, right? Shout out to Trey Trizzy. Trey Trizzy, another person I think is making his way up there, right? But you just, you know, maybe it's just a thing. Maybe the community wants to divide itself, right? And not necessarily negatively, but they just want to set themselves apart and get their own light, right? Maybe they feel like the tree is too tall, the shade is too broad, and maybe that's an issue. Maybe they would like, man, I want some sunlight, dog. Let me get my own shine. I'm not waiting on you to let the fall happen and all the leaves fall off the tree for me to get no shine. I want my shine right now. And if I gotta get my shine my own way, I'm gonna get my shine my own way. We'll gladly cut the tree down and move it to the side and let you get all the shine you want, right? But you know that comes at a cost, right? You don't get things like the THT, somebody putting thousands of dollars of effort into you having something, countless hours of time into you having something that you don't pay for, you don't do nothing, you're not asked to pay for anything, you're not asked to really do nothing but show up and play the game. You don't get to experience that, because when people get withdrawn, they're just withdrawn, right? And you got to come up with that stuff on your own. But if you want to come up with it on your own and you want it to be your own thing, then, you know, all we can do is sit back and wish you much luck and cheer you on from the sidelines. Because like I said, ultimately, what we want to do as a whole is keep the community as strong as possible. Whether that's, you know, quote unquote, under our branch or not, right? I don't think there's ever been a time where at least expressed to me on this old man side, over here in goddamn Walker Nation, okay? Cripple Nation. We over here, we just trying to find who we gonna get a shit to. I'm telling you, that is a lot of the conversation is who gonna do it? For the longest, there was like, dang, who gonna break out? Who gonna break out? Who we gonna be able to get a shit to? We was feeling like that a year ago. A year ago, we was talking about that. Here it is a year later, and that question still ain't answered. Now, maybe when things subside and y'all get out there and y'all can really show how it is. Because, I mean, there's the other side of that. Maybe somebody just know how you play, and they're just beating your ass because they know how you play. But maybe you go out there in the real world, and I say real world in quotation marks, y'all might tear folks up. But that's what we want to see. You know, that's what we want to see. We want to see y'all get out there and show out. Because that's all we waiting on. The second we can get 2 people that can come up and consistently place top 8s, consistently place, the top 3. Shit. Consistently get top 16s. I mean, at least get your face out there in the streets so people know who you are. There's no reason nobody don't know who y'all are. Ain't no reason. Ain't no reason I don't hear about no ATL players anywhere. Unless they talking about Chop or they talking about goddamn Anakin, right? Or they asking about an old nigga. Where Big Boy at? Where he been? Somebody might ask about me. Maybe. But I don't even know if people realize that. I just tear folks up. I don't even get no glory, all right? I don't need the glory. I ain't in it for that. But it's just like, there are a few people, people who watch like Chop stream, who watch our stream, who kind of know who you are. But what happens if Chop say, you know what? I don't want to stream no more. Tekken House say, I don't want to stream no more. Do you have enough draw to get what you want, which is the recognition that you're good? Bro, we got to put we got a whole new system in the THT. Some never before seen shit with some high-end graphics and a whole new everything. Can barely get people to watch that shit. And somebody said it earlier today. They said, man, listen, the production is great, but I like watching. Well, let me see if I can pull it back up. Let me see if I can pull it up. Might not be on here no more. Oh, yeah. Let's pull up this one right here, dog. It says, I'm more of a good quality Tekken fan, but it's good to see the different players. Listen, wasn't even taking shots really, but that's just what it is. Unfortunately, when people see y'all play, it's not as pristine as what you might think it might be in your own head. The viewer don't see it like that. The people on the outside don't see it like that. It look like some guys that's pretty good at the game that are having fun. What we do still have is entertainment factor. Shout out to Abstract. People know Abstract. He an entertaining motherfucker, right? Like, folks know Chop. They gonna know Chop for his accomplishments, and they gonna know him because he wildin'. But what happened when Chop don't show up to 404, bro? You know what I'm saying? What's gonna happen when Chop don't show up to stream? Y'all gonna get them numbers? Where you gonna get that clout from? Where you gonna get them accolades from? You got to put it on the wood, you know what I mean? You got to put it on the wood and let her know what it is, all right? Drop that thing on the wood, let her jaw drop. But if you ain't moving heavy, that junk ain't even gonna flop on the table, bro. Y'all ain't at flop on the table level yet. We want you to get there. Right now, you try to pull that thing out, it won't even touch the table. Junk don't even drop. Ain't got no weight to it whatsoever. Sticking out like a belly button, okay? Listen, we need y'all to feel the shoes, bro. We need you to feel the shoes. Drop that thing on the table, make it go thump. Good. You know what I'm saying? It need to be an onomatopoeia when you got there and put that thing out and drop it on the table. Show them like, yo, bro, I'm from Atlanta. Thud. Thing hit the table. They ain't gonna be like, oh yeah, I know about you. I know that guy, K-Dash. Yeah, I know that guy. Oh yeah, I know that guy, Rail. I know that guy. 0-2, Pleasant Man. Oh, I know all of them guys. Nito, Dill Bob. I know all of them guys. Atlanta's got a nasty crew out there, dog. I hope I don't even run into them in the tournament. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't even want to run into them in my bracket. Like, imagine, you know how people use people like, oh man, I fucked around and had knee in my bracket. I gotta fight knee first. Do you understand that's how people used to feel about Atlanta players? Oh man, I got fucking Clint in my. I gotta play Clint first, dog? Man, hell no. Even as competitive as they were back then, people was like, bro, I really don't want to play them Atlanta folks first. Wing Zero, I gotta play that guy? That guy that beat Jen Masters' ass. I gotta play that guy. Best Nina in the country. I gotta play that guy. ATL Nina player? That guy? Oh shit. I gotta be on my P's and Q's, bro. I gotta be on my P's and Q's. But that's just how it is, right? That's how it is. That's the level that you gotta get to. And like I said, I don't think y'all are super far away, but you definitely aren't there yet. And with that being the case, maybe the acceptance comes in, right? Let's look at acceptance. Like, what is acceptance? Why are we talking about it? Acceptance. It's a noun, okay? The action of consenting to receive or undertake something offered. Or 2, the action or process of being received as adequate or suitable, typically to be admitted into a group, right? Now, when I speak about acceptance, what I'm talking about is more along the line of the first question. I mean, the first definition, right? I'm just gonna have to accept it, right? And maybe as old niggas, we just gotta accept it. This just ain't what they want. They don't want. They're tired of old niggas, maybe, right? They might not ever say it, right? They may not ever come out of their mouth and say it. But, and I don't think it's malicious, right? I don't think it's that kind of situation. I do think it is more of they're just ready to shine on their own. And I mean, we just got to accept that. Old niggas, y'all can't be out here being grumpy, all right? You can't be out here being salty. Like, you just do your part. You're an old nigga, all right? You had your time. You was them one time in your life. I was them one time, probably. Not really, but I could see I could have been there. I've seen people be that person, right? At the end of the day, you might be expecting them to be something that they're just not, right? It's like you got a son, you want him to follow in your footsteps. I want my son to be an electrician because I'm an electrician. This motherfucker want to be a ballet dancer. Ain't nothing I'm going to do. Ain't nothing I can do about it, right? I can go give him all the tools, show him how to hook up all the wires. I leave the house, come back to motherfucker in a tutu, all right? Ain't nothing I can do about it, all right? Sometimes you just got to let them be what they're going to be, right? And hopefully they'll pan out to something you're proud of. Maybe you ain't know that they was going to go another direction, and that direction might be greater than anything you had to offer them. And, well, the same thing is true here, right? Maybe we have a way about us old guys. We got a way about us where we think we right. We think we know what's best because of the path that we took and the experience we have. But you don't really know what these guys got on it. They might have a whole other plan. And you got to make room for that shit. And you got to accept it, right? You got to accept sometimes people just not going to go by your standard. Sometimes people not going to fuck with you the way you want them to fuck with you, even though they still fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to chill. Let them do what they do. And if it comes around and they see the value in what you're offering, you know, if they're not too proud, they gonna ask, right? I ain't too proud to beg. I don't know nothing about no Temptations. But that's what happens, right? It happens at every facet of life. We talking about teching right now, but that happens in dating. Sometimes you just gotta accept you ain't it, chief. All right, you could love the hell out of a chick. Love her for 10, 15 years. Chasing that ass. She ain't giving it to you. She don't give you the time of day. She keep you in the friend zone. All right, you've been trying to chase this dude, got all this money. This nigga don't pay you no attention. He don't return none of your phone calls. You gave him the pussy. He hit it, still don't call you. You in love with the nigga, all right? Are you chasing this girl, man? You done bought her a car. You done bought her all kind of shit. She's steadily looking at a nigga who ain't no good for her, right? The same chick chasing the nigga who don't pay her no attention. You out there chasing her ass, bro. And she just, you ain't it. Sorry, chief, you ain't it. It's somebody out there for you, though. All right, the same way. Hey, look, old guys, there's a market out there for you somewhere. Somebody might want to learn the shit you're trying to teach. All right, maybe the guys they just want to do their own shit. You got to respect that. The same way you expect that respect that you want to get, well, you got to respect them equally, right? You got to get that, give them the, be the example of respect. Yeah, I know that's a tough thing to do, right? It's tough to be the old guy and having to actually give that respect to people that came up behind you when you feel like, well, they ain't even did what you did. But like I said, they might do something you ain't done. All right, they might come up with some shit that, you know, what we talked about at the very beginning, Evo getting purchased and, you know, the community growing. They might be the ones that come up with the shit. They might make ATL, they might make the jump legendary for a whole new reason. They might come up with a concept that catches on, catches flame, and then you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna try to cut you out of it because your ass was being a bitch to them. All right, you was all on their ass acting funky instead of supporting them in the things that they wanted to do. And then they shit blow up. Now you super salty. Like, man, I changed they funky nigga draws. Okay, I changed his draws. I taught him everything he knew. And then he blow up. It's like, hey man, I was there with you, dog. I was there in the trenches with you. I was helping you out, getting you where you needed to be so you could get where you are. But you just gotta accept it, bro. Maybe something else is in the wings waiting on them, right? Maybe that means you got time to free yourself up to do something greater for yourself, right? No different than at work, you know. Sometimes you just ain't that one. You go for the interview, you got all them credentials. Girl walking there with a nice pair of legs, titties out, no credentials. Might get the job just because the boss want to hit it. Sorry, player. You just ain't it, chief. I'm sorry. Just got to accept it, bro. But how do you get past that? Well, first you got to move on, right? You got to consider that, you know what, bro? There's other things I could do. There's other routes I could take. There are other ways I could be of assistance, right? I could be productive in another manner, right? Redirect your focus, right? TTU was talking about focus the other day. If anybody here from the class, shout out to you. We was talking about focus. Redirecting your focus, very, very integral part of an accepting nature, right? You're going to have to accept and redirect. Set new goals, right? We've had to do that. You know, we've had to do that. Hell, we do that now, right? We do that now. We got things coming up in the works, right? We're going to be probably peeling back from the gaming aspect, going more towards content like this, having shows, bringing stuff back like Mike and Marty. You know, finding another area in which we can help people, right? If first you don't succeed, dust yourself off. Y'all know the lyrics. And that don't mean that we ain't gonna be here for other things, but you know, you have to accept where you are, right? And what you're used for, right? Maybe everybody don't need you for everything. Maybe you want to be everything to every person. And you know, maybe you want to build the community up and be this and that, be a pillar for the community in a specific way. maybe the community don't want you for that, right? Maybe they want you for something else. You know, maybe they want you to sweep the floor. I don't know. Maybe they want you to make their iced teas. Maybe they want you to blow their girl back out when they bored, you know, when they tired. I don't know. You know, it gets funky out here in the streets. We in Atlanta. You don't know what you might run up on. I think my cousin got a goddamn swingers club. Now that I'm thinking about it. But that's a whole nother subject. Nonetheless, you definitely have to consider all of these things. And when you do that, you know, you, or in this case, me, the way I see it, got to get in where I fit in, right? Make something happen. Ideas don't work in one area. You know, they aren't going how I would like them to go. You don't force the issue, right? If they want it, they'll get it. If they want it, they'll ask for it. If they don't want it, then you ain't waste no time on it. You know, and that might, you know, hurt a nigga's ego a little bit. You know, oh man, I really wanted this to work, but it ain't gonna work unless it's working, right? You can't stop, all right? You can't stop the ball. No more than if you're playing Tekken and you know you getting it in. You hit a wall. You can't quite do the shit you want to do. You can't quite beat the person. You don't just stop. You find a way to get around them obstacles. Very much the same in life, in business. You find a way to be productive in other areas. So y'all be on the lookout, man, because what we got coming up next, after probably the finals of the THT, you know, you might see it come back. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know the interest level for the THT for the competitors themselves is all that high. You know, maybe that'll change. But if not, you know, we won't be going nowhere. Tekken House will be here. Mike on the mic gonna be here. Shout out to Ice, he gonna be there. All right, we're gonna be bringing back some of the things that y'all used to love. Mike and Marty, probably gonna be doing a little bit more stuff like this where we have, you know how I like to do, get philosophical. If y'all want to get in on that, man, make sure y'all go ahead and hit us up over there on the Discord. All right, where it be going down. We got question of the day. It be getting real contentious in there. All right, but always good conversations. Shout out to my boy Big Marty Marr coming through. Shout out to A1. You know, get in there. You know, we're trying to make it more useful. You know, we be watching movies in there now. You know, we have like movie nights. Pretty soon we're gonna have some stuff in there for skills, you know, that can help the community out, you know, outside of gaming, right? Stuff that can help you out in your real life. Shout out to everybody who came through. Appreciate y'all coming through. Much love to y'all being here. If you don't know, man, make sure y'all go check us out. You know what it is, TekkenHouseENT.com for all the information that we have on everything. Check us out there. Also, if you are a fan of the THT, right? You know, if you are a fan of the THT and you wanna donate to the finals pot, make it more exciting, give these competitors, I guess, a little pep in their step, a little fire under their asses. You can donate there at Matcherino. I believe the tag team turmoil support gives you a free 50 cents. So you can go ahead and drop that in there if you ain't got no cheese. I know them stimmies didn't hit. Y'all can stem a nigga leg up right quick, you know what I'm saying? And also make sure y'all follow us at YouTube, TKN House. It used to be MIC ATL1, but we changed it. So you can go look for us, TKN House, hit the subscribe. You'll know because you'll see our new little logo that we've been using as of late if you've been paying attention. Yeah, make sure y'all do all of that, right? Make sure you do all of that. We got all that going down for you, man. We got a few more days, so make sure y'all vote. All right, go ahead and vote. I know I got this shit wrong in here, but make sure y'all go in there and vote. Division 1, Division 2, You should be able to vote for one or the other. Go ahead and get yourself right. We're gonna have. I guess we still gonna have the All-Star game. People said they still wanted to do it, so we're gonna still have the All-Star game. So since we're gonna be having All-Star weekend coming up, make sure y'all vote for the last 2 members on the All-Star team. We'll be making that announcement probably Monday. So this will be your last time to vote. Also, make sure that y'all check out the tournament tomorrow. 1v1 is going down. It's gonna be pretty interesting. I won the last one actually. This is what I'm talking about though. You know what I'm saying? How y'all let me win? There's no way y'all should let me win. Nothing. Came up out of retirement and won this motherfucker, alright? But the 1v1 tournament series, March 21st, 2021. Online, $500. In person, $500. Access replay. Alright. Shout out to 404 as usual. Getting it in. Always a great spot. Check out my girl's coffee shop, Milk Honey Coffee. Listen, I'm telling you, them flavors is slapping. She got lavender, vanilla. The tea is the best shit to me, right? I mean, not the tea, the lemonade. That shit's popping. Check out all our affiliates. We got No Round Brown, High Series, 404, Scrub Dojo, and Yoshi. I think I just seen her in the chat. Shout out to Yoshi. Once again, 27th. That'll be next weekend, next Saturday. Go check out what we got going on there, and of course get you some merch. You got a girl, get her them leggings. You know what I'm saying? Them leggings is nice on the girls. I think I got a picture. I might be putting one of them pictures up pretty soon. And that's just the Matcherino. Y'all know what it is with that. Also, shout out to Infinite. I don't know why that slide ain't on here. It was supposed to be on here. Oh, and Thumb Pro Arcade. Might be getting one of them things pretty soon. So y'all check out Thumb Pro. Check them out, you know what I'm saying? See what's really going on out there in the streets. Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy M.I. Sizzle in the goddamn building, making it happen. And I hope you've been enjoying yourself, right? It's been rather real. Once again, I hope everybody took a little bit away from it. You know, no hate. All in the spirit of love. I'm just telling y'all how I see it, right? That's what it is. Hopefully we can get some of the guys on and get their side of the story, because we could be completely wrong. You know, old niggas be stuck in their ways. We might be seeing shit. We might need glasses. Ain't looking at it right. So hopefully I can get, somebody to come represent them and give their side of how they see things. And, we can get into some other current events that might be popping off. Hopefully to make this a little bit more regular of a thing, I don't know if y'all like this kind of format, but I like talking. I think I got something to say, and hopefully I'm doing it in a way that's entertaining. If you like it, be looking forward to seeing more of it a little bit more often. And until next time, you know what it is. Your boy MIC ATL, getting it in, and we out.
Got it for me.